she is hoping that she's going to become a billionaire off all of this, which again is total insanity. I think the woman's expectations are so unrealistic that I don't understand why Nurse Ratched just doesn't come in and just, scoop her up and maybe, put a few instruments in her head and maybe sort of let's knock some sense into her.
Breaking right now, as ever, might as well be renamed to As Never. Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand in crisis after just a matter of months after she walked away from the entire product line, vowed not to restock anything until next year, and at that point seems to be walking away from all of the products that she's tried to make famous towards a fashion brand. And it comes as there is growing concern about the fact that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are now living well beyond their means, not being able to rake in those big money deals, and some speculation that they are now actually eating into the inheritance left by both Princess Diana and the Queen Mother. Lady Colin Campbell is with me now. Lady C, serious financial issues now for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, which is why this total 180 on As Ever seems like a real strategic error. What are you hearing?
Well, I'm hearing that they have huge financial problems. That they are eating into capital, and that they've sort of, to an extent, been, for much of their marriage, eaten into some capital. And also he doesn't have that amount of money. People seem to think that because he's the king's son, he's rolling in money. He never was. I mean, in terms of Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, he's poverty stricken. But they have financial problems. And a part of those financial problems are that Netflix is not funding the manufacture of the produce. The way Harry and Meghan presented the deal was that they would be partners with Netflix, and so Netflix was effectively going to be funding she calls it As Ever, you call it As Never, I call it Was Never. But Netflix, the hope was that Netflix would fund, and the fact is that Netflix's funding was very limited for the first line of what was never produced, and because they were not prepared to put up good money on something that was so highly speculative. And the proof of the pudding, Dan, is in the eating of the figures, because according to Meghan, the line was sold out within 45 minutes. That tells you that the produce was in the low thousands. Several years ago, Arnold Scarsese, the great American, Canadian couturier, put me in touch with QVC to do a jewelry line. And I spoke to the head of QVC about it. And what happens in situations like that is that you have to fund the merchandise, which has to be at, they figure, well, it might sell 30,000. So you might then say, well, we'll buy in 25,000. So the stock has to be there for when the merchant is merching the merchandise on the television or on Netflix or wherever it's going to drop. That is how it works. Well, Netflix funded Was Never to a derisory amount, which meant that it was sold out after 45 minutes. Had they funded it to even a respectable amount, say in the low tens of thousands, as opposed to maybe 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500, whatever. I'm just being speculative with the figures to give people an idea. That would have been 10 to 20 times more expensive. And Netflix wasn't prepared to take the chance. That's why Meghan was able to say it had sold out quickly. It wasn't a win. It was the declaration of a huge loss in terms of, and she's now, she's looked at the figures and she's seen that all of that produce is not going to make her any money. And remember, she is hoping that she's going to become a billionaire off all of this, which again is total insanity. I think the woman's expectations are so unrealistic that I don't understand why Nurse Ratched just doesn't come in and just, scoop her up and maybe, put a few instruments in her head and maybe sort of let's knock some sense into her. But the fact of the matter is that she is now trying to come up with alternative backing because she and Harry don't have the class of money to fund an enterprise of this magnitude. I've been saying it all along because I know from my own negotiations with QVC how expensive it is to launch something like this. And they're only launched when you, the funder, is prepared to take the chance. Well, Netflix wasn't prepared to take the chance. Netflix isn't taking the chance again. And they're thrashing around, or she's thrashing around, trying to find some other backup. Well, let's see what happens, because if she goes into business with designers, she's not going to be getting 30 or 40 or 50% of the taking. She might be getting 3 to 5%. If she's really lucky, 10%. But she's not going to be getting. So all of these phantasmagoric figures that their PR people and she floats and that the public seems to believe, it's ludicrous. None of it makes commercial sense. So I think we're looking at maybe Harry and Meghan doing something really desperate because their financial plight is becoming increasingly desperate. So let's wait and see what they come up with. But I can tell you something, in terms of designer items or produce, nothing Meghan touches is really of any great interest to people because they have been turned off by her abusive behavior towards the late Queen, towards Prince Philip, towards King Charles, towards Catherine and William, and especially towards her father, because most people revere their parents even when they don't like them or don't speak to them. They understand that you should honor your parents. You do not set them up, throw them under the bus, discard them, and do it so publicly and set things up in such a way that you're going to be able to somehow bleat about what a terrible childhood you had when you spent the first 36 years of your life acknowledging what a wonderful father you had. So I think, as far as I can see, Meghan is toast.
And this is why, Lady C, King Charles has been so paranoid about what seems like a increasingly realistic prospect that at some point Prince Harry will be returning to him cap in hand asking for more money, because the picture you're painting actually suggests that these two could end up going broke given the massive overheads connected with the lifestyle that they want to lead. I mean, they're already living a billionaire's lifestyle, let's just be honest about it, and they are not anywhere close to earning billionaire money. But first, Father's Day is just around the corner, and let's be honest, Dad does not need another coffee mug or pair of socks. It's time to give him something he will actually use. Meet the Chairman Pro from Manscaped, the perfect Father's Day gift for the dad who deserves to look and feel his best. This isn't just any razor. The Chairman Pro is a high-tech, dad-approved grooming upgrade. It's an electric face shaver that can tackle up to 5 days of growth and features 2 interchangeable blade heads. So whether he's cleaning up for golf, dinner, or just another accidental nap on the recliner, make sure he does it with style. The Chairman Pro is perfect for the dad who taught you how to shave and now needs a reminder of how it's really done. So have him join the over 12 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code Outspoken and you will get 15% off your entire order at manscaped.com. But goodness me, I use Manscaped. I want to tell you what's so incredible about this product. The Skin Safe 4-blade foil is for that super close shave, while the Skin Safe stubble trimmer is for that sophisticated 5 o'clock shadow look. They're interchangeable and both are designed to help you reduce razor burn and irritation so skin feels smooth and comfortable after every shave. It is waterproof, so it can be used in the shower or rinsed under the sink after use, making cleanup a breeze. And since Dad is always telling you to charge your phone right, now he can take his own advice. Thanks to the digital battery display, it showcases the battery level so he knows when it's time to recharge. And with up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, Dad can take his time getting the perfect shave. Manscaped comes with a 2-year warranty on all powered devices, giving you peace of mind with every use. So get your dad a Father's Day gift he'll actually use, the Chairman Pro. For 15% off, go to manscaped.com and just use the code Outspoken at checkout. You'll get it off your entire order, by the way, at www.manscaped.com using the code Outspoken at checkout. But now, back to the show.
They're not only not close to earning I've broken down the figures before and I'll break them down again. Harry is worth a maximum, with everything thrown in, of say 35 or 40 million dollars. Their lifestyle requires a capital sum of $400 to $600 million. So they are 10 times poorer and their income stream is, in terms of capital, is 10 times lower than it should be. Harry made good money off Spare. I mean, it's been a disaster for Penguin Random House, but you will know, Dan, because you're in the business. A writer gets his or her royalties off the RRP, which is the recommended retail price. Spare was discounted at a minimum of 50% for most of the books. So right there, Penguin Random House was in a losing situation. But they thought that if they threw enough money at it, that they would be able to present it as a great success. So Harry has made a reasonable amount of money. They haven't, but Harry has. But also, let's remember that money has to fund their lifestyle. And also that money, no matter how cleverly you go about it, that money, unless he is doing certain things, that money is...
Oh, we've just lost you again.
So they don't have...
Sorry, we've just lost you slightly, lady.
Sustain the lifestyle they have been living. And but sorry, can I just... Harry, my understanding is that Charles will not be funding Harry, and that Charles is quite determined not to fund Harry. And should Harry return to his father, cap in hand, that is the point at which the gibbet is going to be put around their necks. Let's leave it at that.
Yes, because let's just say Charles has made it very clear that when it comes to money, he's going to be tough because he's been tough with Prince Andrew. Lady C, clearly Meghan has decided, okay, there's not going to be enough money in my scam jam. So this week she announced this pivot towards fashion, but it was very awkward timing because, or maybe it was planned timing, because for the first time, the true horror of her negotiations with Anna Wintour about her failed bid to receive a Vogue cover went public. And what was so shocking about this, Lady C, is that she not only demanded a global cover, right, and decided to go toe-to-toe with Anna Wintour, it also emerged that she tried to boot the one celebrity A-lister who's actually stayed close to her, Serena Williams, tried to boot her off the cover of American Vogue. So do you really think this woman has any chance of launching a successful fashion business? Because we've seen with Victoria Beckham, for example, it has taken years and years and huge amounts of money from David Beckham before there was any prospect of that business becoming profitable.
And with due respect, Victoria Beckham wears clothes far better than Meghan.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria Beckham looks far better in clothes than Meghan. Victoria Beckham has the talent of an Anne Klein or a Perry Ellis. I'm not denigrating her. I'm simply making the point of where she fits in terms of fashion designers, which is that she's not innovative and she's not high fashion. She is basically middle of the road wearable clothes for women who have good figures and the money to spend. Her clothes fit nicely. They're made of good material, but she has cost her husband tens of millions of pounds to keep that business afloat.
Yeah.
Harry doesn't have the money. And what Meghan will have to do is she will have to enter into licensing agreements with manufacturers, and her name will be used to flog certain garments, but she will not be making a vast amount of money out of it. She will, if the clothes are saleable and wearable, she will end up making a respectable amount of money. But Meghan is never going to be a billionairess of her own initiatives while she's standing up. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she won't. And obviously, that is why there's so much difficulty. Lady C, I had to ask you too about this really obvious PR stunt this week where an air hostess on an American Airlines flight claimed to have received a handwritten note from Meghan Markle. And this then went viral because she posted a video on TikTok. Have a look at this video, Lady C.
You guys will not believe who I just had on my flight, who I had a pleasure of serving. The Queen, the Princess, the Duchess of Sussex. The Meghan Markle was on my flight, and she's so beautiful in person. She was so sweet. She wrote us a little handwritten note back. So rewrote her note that said, "It's a pleasure of serving you. We love you real bad." And she wrote this note back that says, "Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. All love right back to you." And then I think it says, "Forever, Meghan." You know, I can barely read this cursive, but look at this handwriting is giving rich. It's giving expensive. It's giving princess. She also said she loved my nails, and the captain on my last flight said they were intense. So, sir, it doesn't matter what you think. The Queen says she likes them.
Now, ladies, see, if that wasn't a PR stunt, and there's so much to suggest that it was, that air hostess would have been sacked because she has not followed any of the protocols of what you have to sign up to when you become an American Airlines air hostess. What's also interesting, of course, is that this story leaked out via Meghan Markle's favoured outlet, People. And at the same time, Lady C, I've been looking into a story in recent weeks involving how terribly Meghan Markle has treated air hostesses on another airline. So it feels like this was all about getting ahead of a story.
Meghan spends her whole life countering perceived or actual criticism with some counterbalancing denial, or whether it's in one form, shape, or another. And you're absolutely right. No stewardess on any reputable airline is allowed to publicly comment on anybody they had on the flight, except with the specific permission of the person and the release of the airline. So that stewardess would be in big trouble unless it were cooked up. And you can, I'm not saying that the incident might well have not have well happened. I think it's possible that the incident did happen, and that Meghan wrote the note knowing, and Meghan must have said to them for them to be able to use it. Oh, and my dear, please feel free to use it if you want. Show your friends. You know, I can show you how to work Instagram. I can show you how to work many things. I can show you how to work magic.
Oh, love it. And of course, for much, much more of this, you have to sign up to Lady Colin Campbell's YouTube channel. It is an absolute must watch. And I'd also love you to be part of our Substack community too. This is where you get the first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show every weekday, Monday to Friday, www.outspoken.live. Substack is such a brilliant community, actually. It's free speech focused. You can communicate directly with me, and most importantly, save me one day from the inevitable big tech cancellation. Lady Colin Campbell, thank you so much. We'll speak next week.
Thank you, Dan. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.